Today we're going to talk about basic problems in arguing. Let's get our slideshow queued up here. We tend to think of problems in argument as being problems that come from out there. For example, he's telling a lie, she is exaggerating, he's giving statistics that aren't true, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Even if it's not this confrontational argument, we still think of the problems as coming from out there. Maybe a politician is misleading us using fallacies. A salesperson is exaggerating the statistics. It might surprise you to learn that some of the biggest problems you're going to encounter this semester in arguing are going to come from within yourself. For this presentation, we talk about mine is better thinking, the better than average effect, ethnocentrism, egocentrism, mindlessness and resistance to change, anecdotal thinking, and GroupThink. Mine is better thinking. Kruger and Dunning were two researchers out of Cornell University. And they wanted to conduct a survey to see if the mind is better thinking, which is the concept that every individual begins with a predisposition to think that he or she is right. And they wanted to do this survey and see if that was really true. So they took 1 million high school seniors and they asked these 1 million high school seniors various questions. Well, at the end of their research, they coined the term the better than average effect, because they did indeed find that people are guilty of mine is better thinking. Another name for this mine is better effect you can see down here, which is illusory superiority. Obviously, everybody isn't better than average, or there would be no average. So it is an illusion that you have the superiority. Now, obviously, some people are superior, but by definition, that means that there have to be some people who are inferior. So they said there is a better than average effect, and others have called this illusory superiority. Now, two ways you may see this illusory superiority is in a person, and this would be called egocentrism. You've heard someone called an egotist. When you are at the center, your ego is at the center of the universe, you're egocentric. Ethnocentrism, we see the root word ethnic here. Ethna, and that is the same as ethnic. Or your group is at the center. My country, my race, my ethnic group is at the center, or is better than others. Now, to understand what Kruger and Dunning did, you have to understand the definition of average is not a mathematical average. We're not talking about the mean, where you take 10 numbers, say for example, add them up and then divide them by 10. What we're talking about is the dictionary definition of average, which, as you can see here from dictionary.com, is typical, common, and ordinary. So again, they asked these 1 million seniors, high school seniors, different questions. And the question, let me get this, cue this up so I say it correctly. What they asked these seniors was, are you better than average in your leadership skills? And that was one question. And as you can see, 70% felt that they were better than average in their leadership skills. Now, when asked if they were better than average in their ability to get along, this one will blow your mind. 100%, every single person asked, 1 million people believe themselves to be better than average in their ability to get along. 60% believe themselves to be in the top 10%, and more than 20% felt that they were in the top 1% in their ability to get along. Now, before you start saying, well, these are high school seniors, they're kids, everybody thinks they're smarter than everybody else when they're not adults yet, take a look at this statistical demonstration from Summers. In one survey, 86% of business managers said they were more ethical than their peers. And in another, 94% of professors said they were better teachers than the average faculty member on campus. Again, better than average effect. So when you go to do your research, you're going to believe what you've got up here before you read what's written down there. Another problem that comes from within has to do with our upbringing and experience. If our parents or guardians taught us to think one way, we may do so without questioning certain things. And we also think anecdotally, and our own experience becomes our evidence. For example, say my neighbor homeschooled her children, and her children can't do math at all, they don't spell well, and they're misbehaving all the time. Therefore, homeschooling doesn't work. All right, I've taken one anecdote and I'm generalizing it. The last thing on this list is called GroupThink, and I think it's probably the most fascinating example of mindlessness because it has to do with peer influences. In the 1950s, the now famous Asch conformity experiment was first conducted. And it showed how powerful a peer, or not even friends, but just a group can influence other people, individuals rather. So let's take a look at this video, which I got off of YouTube, showing kind of a reenactment, or not really a reenactment, but a restaging of the Asch conformity experiment.
The Asch experiment is one of psychology's oldest and most popular pieces of research. A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors, and he's the only person taking part in the real test, which is actually about group conformity.
The experiment you will be taking part in today involves the perception of line length. Your task will be simply to look at the line here on the left and indicate which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. So, for example,
the actors have been told to match the wrong lines. The volunteer will be monitored to see if he gives the correct answer or if he goes along with the opinion of the group and gives the wrong answer. In the first test, the correct answer is 2.
1, 1, 1. 2.
1. Once again, the correct answer is 2.
3. 3. 3.
3.
The Asch experiment has been repeated many times, and the results have been supported again and again. We will conform to the group. Again, we're very social creatures. We're very much aware of what the people around us think. We want to be liked. We don't want to be seen to rock the boat, so we will go along with the group. Even if we don't believe what people are saying, we'll still go along.
1, 1, 1.
Group dynamics is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology.
1, 1.
Fascinating. Again, that's called GroupThink, when you're influenced by those around you. You may be interested in seeing what the results of the original Asch conformity experiment were. People were influenced to give incorrect answers 35% of the time, and 3/4 of the people gave at least one wrong response. So only 25% of the people held out and didn't give incorrect responses. So that is kind of scary, I think, especially when you think in terms of the greater implications of groupthink, which in history have even resulted in genocides. But even for student researchers, the second two things on this list can become a problem. We can become locked into a position and blinded to other points of view. Now, how do you know if you're experiencing illusory, superiority, groupthink, mindlessness, resistance to change, or anecdotal thinking? Well, if when you begin your research for anything you're looking at, you start to feel this warm, fuzzy feeling, or this rah-rah, this is right, without even critically analyzing, without even looking at it. Or, on the other hand, if you start to feel uncomfortable, this is stupid, this isn't very well written, without critical analysis first. Those are possibly indications that you're experiencing something in this middle circle here. And what do you do when you do note that you have that feeling? Well, it's great that you recognized it, because it means that you're actually trying to earn your opinions, which we must do for this class in ethical arguments. You should check the source credibility and the bias before you start. Don't jump to conclusions. Keep researching. And expect that negative reaction to new ideas, especially if it's a very long-held belief. In fact, I encourage students not to choose something that's too personal and too strongly held, because you won't be able to earn that opinion in the short amount of time you're going to have during this class to do your research. So pick something that's interesting to you, but maybe not a super long-held belief that grandma and mom and dad and everybody in your family holds. That might be way more than you can handle in the short amount of time. And then finally, judge the idea based on your critical analysis, not on your gut reaction. Let's take a look at the sources that I used for this PowerPoint. And please note that while I've got these numbered so it's easier for you to see them, you do not number your sources in the works cited or reference pages for APA or MLA. Thank you.